Hi, I'm Rick Drasin, and welcome to Rick's Corner. Excuse my voice, I have a little bit of a chest cold, and it's kind of giving me that deep resonance like Demi Moore on steroids. But I want to talk about a couple of things. I've been getting a lot of emails and questions regarding training to fail. I mean, working up and working to failure on your sets and reps, and want to know if we did that back in the 70s. You can do it, but I wouldn't do it all the time. I'd do it like once every 3 weeks or so, once every 2 weeks, because when you train to fail all the time, you're always exhausting your muscle to the maximum, and it doesn't recover very, very fast. You need another week or two before you get that recovery. And what I found best, now worked for me and worked for others back in those days, what we did, we'd start with 10 reps, say on bench, 8, 6, 4, 2, and a single. The single wasn't always maximum, but it was heavy. I mean, I probably could have got 2 or 3 more with that single. And I only did that like once a week because there again, it just seems to really burn the muscle a lot. And if you don't have the recovery time, it's just not going to happen. So you can do a 10, 8, 6, 4, 2 sequence, that's 4 sets, and then go back down and do a set of 12 or 15 even to really get the muscle pumped full of blood and actually shape it a little bit better. Now, you have to take the muscle for what it's worth. On a chest, for example, it's a big muscle. So you can go a little heavier, you can withstand those reps. Back is a huge muscle. If you work back, you can get even higher reps. You can start at 20, 15, 12, 10, and 8. You don't need to go down to 6, 4, 2 on that muscle. You can go back up and do high reps of that as well. You get much better results with it. Legs, the same thing. Delts are tiny little muscles. You've got anterior, posterior, and lateral delts. You've got 3 little muscles in there. They can't take a lot of heavy training because they're not built for that. They're built for more of a shaping movement like laterals. I was told for years, Ken Waller even told me, don't do pressing. It'll hurt your shoulders. And I kind of believed it and I kind of didn't. And now years later, I've got really bad shoulder joints from doing the pressing. It wasn't necessary. Today I went to the gym, I did chest. I did some hammer machine. I did some incline hammer. I didn't do any dumbbells or barbells at all because I've been sick and I don't want to go too heavy. And I did cradle crossovers, 20, 25 reps, 3 sets, 4 sets. Then I went right to delts and I did reverse delts. I did lateral delts and I did fronts, and I did 4 sets of each. And I got a really good pump. I only used 15 pounds, and it really worked my deltoids to the point of they felt pumped, but they didn't feel like they were strained, which sometimes will work in the opposite manner for you. So you want to train so that you get the consistent pump that you need, but you don't work past that. You don't want to go so heavy that you can't do it because you're supposed to train, not strain. When you strain, you're not really working the muscle hard. I mean, you're working the muscle hard, but you're not doing any good. You're killing it. You don't want to kill it. Bicep, for example, Dave Draper told me this a long time ago. Don't train your bicep so hard, it'll turn into a peanut. It's a small muscle. It can't take big, heavy loads of work. I see guys training really heavy curls, and most of the ones I see don't even have a bicep. They're throwing it up with their front delt. They're not even doing it correctly. Also, I would think that your concentration and your form is a huge factor in your training. Back in the days when we were training back down at Gold's, I mean, every rep was right on the money. I used to go back to Bakersfield to visit my friends at the gym. They said, wow, you do everything so strict. Well, strict works. Yeah, I can't go as heavy, or I did go pretty heavy back then, but not heavy. But working a bicep works in one manner. And Robbie says this, and Leroy says this, and Arnold had said this, that the bicep makes your arm go up and down. Twisting your arm out this way, or twisting around this way, isn't going to change the bicep, the growth. The growth is going to come from just your arm coming up and down. Yes, I take a wide grip sometimes or a narrow grip just to give a little diversity in the curling. And yeah, a concentration curl, but it's still going up and down. The concentration curl just allows you to focus separately on that muscle with one arm at a time so you can really focus on getting the peak. It's not going to change the motion of your joint. Your joint goes up and down. It's just what it does. Pressing, same thing, up and down. You can go down to a lower for a lower pec. You can go incline for a higher part of the chest. But basically, all muscles pull. They don't push. And people say, oh, I do push and pull day. Well, there's really no such thing as that because when you're pushing your chest out like this, you're basically pulling the weight up with your triceps contracting the opposite direction. So that's what's actually happening. When you're pulling in like this, it's your lats are pulling your thing in, your traps in. When you're doing pressing, your chest is pulling your muscles together, so it's pulling the weight up. So think about that, push and pull. It's really not what you think it is. All muscles pull. They contract and they expand. They contract and they expand. They're always, when they contract is when they work. So whatever muscle you're contracting when you're working your program, that's the muscle that's working. Think about when you do it. It's not really pushing, it's contracting. Now, the other thing was that people keep asking me about steroids, and I've done so many Rick's Corners on steroids, I just don't even know what else to say anymore. How much debol, how much test, I don't know. Everybody's different. Back in the days, we didn't have that much. We had basics, and basics back then worked well. Somebody asked me about Dianabol. How much do I take? How good is it? I'm taking 30 milligrams a day now. I don't even think the Dianabol today is real. I don't know. It was made back in the day by Seba, and it was a 5 milligram pill, and 3 a day is 15 milligrams. 2 a day was plenty. And I made huge progress on those 2 because the product was real. It came from the pharmacy. Test today, if you're getting a 400 milligram test, I doubt it's real. They never made over 200 milligram that I ever saw, or 100 milligram. When you get into the 400s, those are homemade. And you don't know how much they're putting in there. It could be, you might be getting 50 milligrams. You might not be getting 400. So be careful what you buy, because today there's a lot of bogus stuff out. The labels look real. You know, I mean, like 400, 600 milligrams of test in a 10cc bottle. I don't believe it. I don't think it's real. In fact, I've taken it and never got anything out of it. So I know it's not real. The only thing that I know is when I get from the pharmacy and I got ananthate or cypionate, and it says 200 milligrams on the label, I know it's 200 milligrams. So beware. And steroids are not the answer anyway. You're going to make your gains off your training and off your diet. If your training and your diet's tight, you're going to look really good. If you're going to take steroids with it, it will enhance it, but it won't do anything on its own unless you have the diet and the training down. I see guys in the gym taking all kinds of crap. They're taking 1,000 milligrams a week of test, and they don't look any different to me except they're fatter, they got more pimples, and they're bloated. So that's probably not even the real stuff, and they're not dieting. They're going back and eating cheeseburgers and fries and milkshakes, which is actually not even working for them. So it's not the answer to what you want. Overtraining and working to failure is not the answer to what you want. Once in a while you go maximum. I had a powerlifting background, so for me to go maximum on bench, squat, and deadlift was a must because I wanted to enter the powerlifting contest and win. I had to get my end up. It builds strength, yes, not necessarily muscle. Muscle is done by repetition and putting blood into the muscle and pumping it and shaping it and pumping it and shaping it. Single reps aren't going to build it. They're going to build your strength instead, but they're going to kill your joints as you get older. I'm paying for it now. I've got really bad joints and arthritis in my knees and my elbows and my shoulders, and I still get through a workout, but I don't go heavy anymore. I just want to maintain my weight right now at about 217, 215. I'm good to go. I tried to get down to 200 and I couldn't do it. I have too much muscle mass. It just won't go down that low. So that's my advice to you. Take it for what it's worth. I'm sure I answered all your questions. If I haven't, there's more on all my Rick's Corners. I have a book out on my website. It's called The Time of My Life. It'll take you through the whole golden era of bodybuilding, behind the scenes, what we did, how we joked around, where we went, what we did on the weekends, how we ate, the reps, the sets, the steroids, the whole thing. The Time of My Life is the book on my website, rickdrasin.com. I also have an 87 Muscles, the video, which is a vintage video you can buy on there just as well. And if you're a wrestling fan or you're into wrestling, I also have books on wrestling as well. But I would suggest you getting the book, and you'll know what's up and have a ton of pictures in there. So that's my answer, and I hope that it's helping you. And I want you guys to know that I will be in Las Vegas September 26th and 27th at the World Gym Convention right before the Olympia. I'm receiving the Joe Gold Lifetime Achievement Award, which is a real honor for me. After all these years, I guess I've done the right thing, and I'm very proud of it. And I'd love all you to be there with me, and I know you can't, but I will post whatever video I get from that on Rick's Corner so you can see it. And thank you so much for being in support of my show and watching. I love all of you, and you have no idea how much. You guys are the world to me. I wouldn't be here today if you didn't watch my show. Thank you so much.